Tuesday, June 6th, I turned 19 years old! Whoa! I feel like, and I'm not alone, a lot of people I know also agree with this, that I was 17 for so long. I was 17 years old for at least 40 years. And now, having been 18 for a year, it didn't quite feel so heavy, and it sort of flew by. And I wonder if that's what everyone's talking about when they say that your youth is like, and then you're old. Every year since I was 15, I have made a video declaring the things that I've learned in the past year of my life. So throughout the 18th year of my life, I had some really uncomfortable confrontations with myself. And through that, this is what I have learned. I give to you 19 tips for 19 years. Tip number 1! When you first meet someone, ask them questions that you are interested in knowing the answer to. I have found with myself, I got stuck in a routine of asking things that I didn't care about the answer to. Instead of just asking the typical questions that you feel obligated to ask when you first meet someone, ask them something you want to know about them, and you will make so much more meaningful connections with strangers, and you will have so many better conversations. Like, even if you never talk to that person again, it's just, at least for me, it was such a more interesting and fun way to live my life when I just cared what people said in response to the questions that I was asking. Everyone you love in your life and hold so dearly to your heart used to be a stranger. So open yourself up a little bit. Tip number 2. I have a tendency to glorify my own sadness, and for me this was a really negative, bad habit to fall into. A big mental shift for me that helped me just get to a much more positive place is being really, really proud of myself for having a good day. If I have a good day for no specific reason, that's incredible! Go me! Tip number 3. Proceed throughout your life and your work as though you're fully capable of the ideal intended outcome, and you will be. Tip number 4. You don't have to be friends with everyone forever in order for the time that you spend together to be fully meaningful. Just because a relationship in your life ends doesn't mean you can't keep it in a very special place in your heart and still honor how beautiful and wonderful it was while it was happening. Tip number 5. I took a really big step back from a lot of my friends for a little while, and it wasn't anything to do with them. I just needed to figure out what was happening inside me internally, and that ended up being a really healthy, positive thing. So I feel like taking a step back and just sort of evaluating and letting yourself breathe, at least in my life, has yet to be a bad thing. Tip number 6. A huge thing in my life this year has been the general concept of forgiveness. Forgiving someone and letting things go is the stronger and braver move. Holding a grudge or staying mad at someone will make you feel so sour, and it won't feel good to you, and a lot of times doesn't even necessarily prove a point to the other person. You can forgive people who don't deserve it. You in your heart can forgive people who aren't sorry. Forgiving other people is one of the best things that I can do for myself, because it really isn't about them. It's not about if they're sorry. It's not about whether they deserve it. It's about letting yourself get over it and let go. Tip number 7. Just because you forgive someone doesn't mean that they need to continue being in your life. Tip number 8. Me being gay has nothing to do with men. Me being gay isn't because I find men so disgusting and despicable and gross that I have to turn to the only alternative, which is women. Me being gay is me liking women. Oh my god, it has nothing to do with men. It's not about you! The amount of times that I've literally been with a girl I was seeing, approached by a guy who inserted himself into the situation and then refused to believe that we were there together is appalling. Men are fine. They don't disgust me. I would just rather be with a girl. It's not about you. Oh, is it about you? It is not. We knew, tip number 8, had to, get a little gay, obviously. Tip number 9, trust yourself over other people. I have the hardest time with this. It's been, a recurring theme throughout my tips videos because it's so hard to do. Trust the way you feel about a situation. Trust your instincts. Trust your gut. Don't trust someone else's gut about the things that you're going through, because I promise no one is as invested in your life as you are. So trust what you're thinking, trust what you're feeling, and then if it doesn't work out, you know you gave it your best and your most honest try. And that will feel better than listening to someone else and then having it not work out. Your instincts will likely be right about whatever will be the best for you. Tip number 10. The people that talk incessantly about cutting off toxic people are the toxic people. No! This was such an important realization for me. If you're looking for reasons to get rid of shitty people in your life and you're looking for that negativity, you will invite it. You'll bring it to you. You'll attract it like a magnet. Tip number 11. Sometimes people have to pretend that you're a bad person in order to justify the way that they're treating you. And it's up to you not to believe them. Tip number 12. I have a very hard time opening up to people as a general concept, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing or the worst thing, but a wise friend has said to me that situations and friendships and relationships or anything will hurt whether or not you're vulnerable. Like, if things end badly, it will hurt whether or not you gave it your all or whether or not you fully put yourself out there. Are you even gonna get anything out of it if you're so cautious, if you're so guarded, if you're so closed off from things? Will it even be worth protecting yourself over? Tip number 13. Femininity is some good shit. I love the color pink. I love rose gold. I love getting dressed up. Oh, I love putting heels on. I love wearing necklaces and makeup and sparkly eyeshadow. It's so good. It's really, really good. And no matter how girly or lady or like slutty I may dress, I'm still just as smart and capable. I basically said this in last year's video, but it's important and it's something that I think is not talked about nearly enough. You can have your tits spilling the fuck out of a tight dress that barely covers your butt and be a genius and be so smart and hardworking and determined and capable, and neither discredits the other. Please don't forget that. Femininity is not idiocy. Remember it. Put your tits out there, lady, and get 8+ on all of your papers at the same time. Tip number 14. You don't always have to go to the party. You've been to the party. You know what's gonna happen at the party. Someone's gonna get a little too drunk. Someone else is gonna kiss someone that they probably shouldn't kiss. You've been to the party, you've lived the party, you've seen the party, and you don't always need to go to the party. Tip number 15. The alternative to going out does not have to be staying in. You don't have to not go to the party and then hang out on your couch. You can not go to the party and then go do something else that you think is interesting and pertains to what you like. Tip number 16. Sex complicates everything. Just like think it through a little bit. Think of the repercussions. Think of like how it affects other people in your life. Just think it all through. Give it a once over in your brain. Take your time, no rush. Just like honor it as something that is important and complicated. So you gotta be respectful of the general ripple effect complication. Tip number 17. Genuinely looking back at the story arc of my life, majority of the really, really shitty things that have happened to me or just situations I've been in, I ended up growing so much from, and I just learned a lot, and I wouldn't be the person that I am today without those bad and not fun things that occurred. Next time that something happens to you and you think it's the end of the world, really just remember all of the times that you thought it was the end of the world and then the world got a little brighter and it got a little better afterwards. Tip number 18. Positivity is a mindset. I have to choose and be proud of myself for choosing to try and be happy and to try and feel content and my best self every single day. And it helps. It's all in your brain. Everything is inside your brain. You really can think your way through and around and out of anything. So use it for good. Tip number 19. In my life, I have had an up and down relationship with the concept of kindness and the concept of being nice to people. As a kid, I thought being nice was the most important thing in the world, so I would put myself at a disadvantage in order to help other people out, and it was not good for me. Then what I did is I did the opposite. I put myself first, and I wasn't very nice, and I thought that I was being honest by listening to the things that my brain said to me that were the most negative. I thought that was being honest. The truth hurts, everyone says, so I thought that the things that hurt me were true and the things that made me feel good were not true. That is not the case. You can be honest and kind. I don't know if any of you out there have struggled with a similar concept, because I know I value honesty above a lot of other things. I just think being honest with people is so important. But you can also be kind. You can just choose to listen to the nicest parts of what you think. Because if I meet someone and I think they talk too loud, or I don't think they're fun to be around, I equally will think, oh my god, that person has such great skin, or I love their shoes. I will think both things. And so being kind is just choosing the nicest parts of what you honestly actually think. And the more that you listen to that little whisper of a voice that tells you sweet, kind, loving, gentle things, the louder and louder that voice will get. And then it will be like more than the bad bits. Like, I think so much more kindly about the people that I'm surrounded by than I used to, just because I'm listening to the best things that I have to say, to the nicest things I have to say. And it fills up my body with good. It makes me just like feel good, and it makes me feel better about me because I'm listening to the nicest things that I have to say about me, and I'm still finding a way to be very overarchingly honest. Wow, we did it. 19 tips. Leave a comment and let me know what are some things that you learned this year. I will be reading all of the comments on this video. I really want to learn. I think it's so interesting and fascinating what people have to say and what they've gone through, and I want to learn from you guys. So leave a comment, tell me a story, tell me something interesting from your life. I will see you guys next week with a new video, and I'll see you guys next year with a lot more knowledge. Have a great day, stay positive,